You're stuck with me, Sky Guy.
Legends of the Hidden Temple with your guide, Kirk Fogg.
Oh my God.
We recorded for 2 years before you all ever saw it.
The hated monkey of Star Wars. I want to have a tauntaun.
May the Force be with you!
Get those clappers ready, because please, welcome to the stage, Dee Bradley Baker and Ashley Eckstein.
I feel like I'm surrounded by locusts or cicadas or something.
Well, usually when there's like bug sounds, it's Dee. And I was like, oh, that's not coming from Dee.
Clicks for the cricket.
Getting to work in the Star Wars universe, was this a fandom that both of you followed before getting these jobs? And what did it mean when you got them?
I need Dee to answer this.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
This is a fandom that preceded the work on the Clone Wars for me. I was very excited by A New Hope Episode 4 when I saw it when I was a kid. My parents made me a Jawa costume for Halloween of 1977, and then I was hired at the movie cinema when they re-released A New Hope in the summer of '78 to be a Jawa all summer. And so that was my first Star Wars gig, and so I've loved Star Wars for a very long time.
Oh, was it a paid gig at that
They
cinema?
paid me in movie passes, which was better than
yeah.
money. That's like perfect. Perfect. And I watched Star Wars all summer long.
And I've been a lifelong fan as well. I got to go on Star Tours at Disney's MGM Studios when it first came out. So I was a young kid, and I remember just being so blown away by that ride. And I got a little plush Ewok, and I've just been a Star Wars fan really my entire life.
What has it been like getting to kind of come to these sort of cons and then get to connect with those people that just want to talk to you about the universe that you're a part of?
It's really gratifying, especially coming from the days of the Clone Wars, which when it aired on Cartoon Network like at 10 o'clock at night, and it really wasn't promoted properly. It was like, well, we're kind of done. And then it hit Netflix and it took off, and then Disney took over, and then we got Rebels, and it just kind of snowballed into all these other things. So it's marvelously gratifying to come back now with all the different iterations of Star Wars that we now see, and to see your joy and your enthusiasm when you come to our tables and express enthusiasm for our little old show from Once Upon a Time. It's really wonderful to see it from all those different angles.
My favorite part about being the voice of Ahsoka is literally this. It's being here with all of you and meeting you and getting to geek out together about Star Wars and Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Ahsoka Tano and the clones. And Ahsoka's changed my life. I made a wish that people would eventually grow to love Ahsoka like I do, and you all have wildly exceeded my expectations, so thank you.
Yeah. When did you discover my voice does really cool things?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, for me, I started performing as a kid, second grade, doing Oliver at my high school musical, or K through 12 school. We did a musical there. And I liked performing, I liked singing, I liked being on a stage. And then I just kind of kept doing that all the way through college. I never studied acting because I didn't think that was a viable career, but it just was something I liked to do. And gradually I found it, and then, when I was late 20s or around 30, I just realized, I'm a voice actor. That's what I want to do. That's really what I'm set up for, and what would be the most fun.
One thing, if you want to go into this field, is you just have to always say yes and. Your path is not straight. It's full of twists and turns and ups and downs and brick walls. And I've always been willing to say, okay, well, this door just opened for me. It might not be the door that I wanted to open, but I'm going to go into this door and see what's behind there. I've made so many of my dreams come true through acting, but half the time I got there because I went through a door that I didn't think would get me there.
I'd also like to speak of Legends of
Facts.
the Hidden Temple, please, just for a moment. So,
Legends of the Hidden Temple. With your guide, Kirk Fogg.
oh my God. You, as a kid, raise your hand if you were like, I could crush being on that show. I thought I would be able to just destroy it. So,
Yes.
can you talk to us, how did that opportunity come up? Did you understand the bigness that it would be?
Well, no. I mean, as an actor, nobody involved in the production of anything really knows how it's going to be received, or whether it has legs, or gets renewed, or is beloved after being, remembered after 20, 30 years. You just don't know. Really, all that you have is just giving it your best, which everyone really does. I mean, even when you see a movie or a play, and you think, my God, that was awful. It was terrible. But you've got to realize that everyone involved in making this was trying their best with maybe a bad script, or an unfortunate budget, or a director who doesn't know what they're doing. But everyone else in this grand collaboration of whatever it is was trying their best to do something that's the best that they could do. And so you just don't know when you start making something.
Yeah.
It's like when we started, I remember when we started making Adventure Time, and John, yeah, what a crazy show. But when you were making it, it was like, as an actor, as a voice actor, it made no sense, anything that we were doing. The scenes didn't make dramatic sense. The visual I'm given is nothing like the sound that they want of the character. And I just remember John DiMaggio, who plays Jake the dog, just saying,
This show, I want to quit the show. I hate the show.
And I remember Tom Kenny, who voices SpongeBob, he pulled, because he was doing voices in there too, and he says, look, you really don't know. You just don't know. And you have to just wait and see. And then when it aired, finally it's like, oh, it's a really good show. And now I understand that, but there was no way from my position in the grand collaboration to pass judgment.
Do you have clone-like conversations to freak your family out? Like, do you talk to yourself in clone voices?
No, basically my family doesn't want to hear the weird stuff I do in a booth. I remember when I had my first and youngest, and Josie was like, 6 years old, and I got us a copy of The Hobbit, and I was going to read her The Hobbit with all the different wonderful voices. And her response to me was,
"Talk normal, Daddy! Talk normal!"
And so I just read it in my regular dad voice. That's pretty much all they want to hear from out of Dad.
Fair
it
enough.
turns out.
You voice a lot of characters like creatures and animals and people. What's your favorite kind of character to voice?
Well, my favorite kind of character is something where we don't really know what it's going to sound like, and they don't really know what it's going to sound like, but they have an idea, and so that's usually a creature of some kind. Mm-hmm. And so it's there's kind of a quick problem-solving part at the beginning of the session, and we come up with whatever the idea is going to be, and we sort of conjure that out of the air, and then we're off to the races. So that's the most fun creatively, just because it's so open and improvisational and free.
How do you feel like with where you started with the characters like Ahsoka and the clones from the start, and watching them evolve both through the lore and also through the fandom, how they reacted to them?
Well, it's funny. Recently, I went back and watched clips from the Clone Wars movies and the Clone Wars movie, and then some of the early episodes, and I was reminded at how much we literally watched Ahsoka grow up. I even couldn't believe how young my voice was in the beginning, where, I usually say, "You're stuck with me, Sky Guy." But it was really young sounding, like, "So if you're a captain and I'm a Jedi, then technically I outrank you, right?" I mean, really young sounding. But it just reminded me of that's how we all are. I mean, somebody sent me a video of when I was in high school, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was a kid. So it's so cool that we've had the chance to watch Ahsoka grow up.
What are your favorite memories of each other and other cast members while filming the Clone Wars?
The range of acting and to be around other actors, which again, it's a pretty rare thing anymore, unfortunately. But you learn a lot from that. It's fun to watch, it's enjoyable, but you learn a lot from these other actors who are fantastic.
There was bloopers all the time. One for me, Ahsoka talked about, they were on the planet of Serapis, and I couldn't say it right. I kept saying Serapis, and it just sounded like I was saying the word piss. And I literally couldn't say it. And I kept without laughing. And finally Dave was like, Ashley, you gotta pull it together.
Yeah. No, but
and I'd
once
be like, we're going to Serapis.
What sort of considerations did you have bringing this entirely new character to life within a very established Star Wars universe?
I think for me, it was the fact that we recorded for 2 years before you all ever saw it. I was so in love with her, and I was bound and determined for everyone else to love her too. And so it was sad, I'm not gonna lie. There was many tears cried in the beginning when people didn't like her. Time is what helped, because it was a series, because it wasn't just a movie where it was one and done, we were continuously making more. And so every new episode that I did, I'm like, this is awesome. And Ahsoka is getting cooler and cooler and growing up and less annoying and less snippy. And I promise you'll like her. So I think just the fact that I was always ahead, and also the fact of what she represented in Star Wars was important to me, and I wasn't going to give up on it.
Thank you.
It's a story that I wish could be, I wish there could be a documentary made about this, but I don't think it could ever happen at this point. It's a very interesting story in terms of not just the creatives involved, but the whole machinery of entertainment. Yeah. And what a unique operation George Lucas had, where the creator is the owner. That's not the way Hollywood runs. Those are separate hats that are worn by separate people, typically.
If Ahsoka and Rex were to have a pet from the Star Wars universe, which would it be and why?
Aw.
A pet?
A pet?
Yes.
I love it.
It's gonna be a tauntaun. They gotta have a tauntaun. I wanna have a tauntaun.
I was half expecting an Ewok.
No, tauntaun.
So I have a funny story about this. He texted me and he's like, hey, I need to know your favorite animal. So I'm like, I feel like I can't answer the traditional cat or dog. Yeah. So I said, a monkey. Well, little did I know that Dave Filoni does not like monkeys. Like literally, if there was one animal, he's like, are you kidding me? The one animal that I literally didn't want you to pick, you picked a monkey. And it was...
Well, he should have told you that.
He should have told me. But I picked a monkey, and so on Ahsoka's boot, he was going to put this animal. Oh. And so I guess on the Ahsoka novel, Ahsoka has a monkey on her boot, and it's because I picked a monkey.
The hated monkey of Star Wars.
Once I found out that Dave didn't like monkeys, monkey all day long.
Nice. This was a wonderful time. I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank you guys for being here. Get those clappers going give it one more time for Dee and Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you at the tables.
Everyone. Hey, actually, before we leave, here, stand up. I'll get a video. Aww. And I'll do a selfie video, and I'll try to get everyone in it. So let's see. Okay. Dee